What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on the planet. This is the Opposite Reaction. Nick Hamilton, Jackie Ray in the building
Whoop, whoop.
on the Good News Radio Network, presented by Nightcast Media. The greatest 60 minutes of your week starts now. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Hey, man. Black, blessed, and highly
I
favored.
see you letting the beard grow and you trying to get your beard game on. You finally
Man, they not
trying
ready.
to join the beard brigade.
It's only temporary because I'm lazy.
Why not?
Because I'm lazy.
I mean, no, I think you should let the beard grow in.
I'll see. I don't know yet. Like, I'm really like whatever with it.
Do you have a patchy beard, or would your beard grow in full?
I mean, it can grow in full.
Yeah, let that happen,
But
man.
it just takes time. But I just don't feel like managing it because it gets on my nerves. It gets irritating on my nerves. So I don't really want to deal with it.
I mean, what's there to deal with? You just let it grow.
Yeah, you still have to maintain it. You still have to deal with it.
Okay. Well.
Some chicks out there understand why when they have facial hair. I know you don't.
You going to hell?
Some chicks that have facial hair, they know what I'm talking about.
Girl, they ain't maintaining that. What's wrong with you?
Man, you may be surprised these days. You never know. You never know. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I worked as per usual, but you know.
Well, that's all we do around these parts,
right.
man. All we do is work around these parts. So, hey, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Hey, man, it was good. I mean, I had a book weekend. Going between, you know, what was it? Doing football. You know, UCLA against Fresno State, who freaking laid an egg. But terrible clock management, as I said earlier. Then I recorded. Went to Chargers Cowboys, which was like, goodness gracious, I was a Cowboys.
I was gonna say, you mean Cowboys Chargers?
It was like 60-40 Cowboys.
Oh yeah, it's always like that. Even when they were in San Diego, it was like that.
Poor clock management is the reason, and penalties are the reason why the Chargers are 500 right now. Hey. Obviously the Rams went 2-0, 4-time under Sean McVay. That was fun. And then watched the Emmys that night, which was interesting.
You watched the Emmys?
Oh, I watch the Emmys every year. I watch it every year. You know why?
Tell me.
Because we were nominated for so many black folks and people of color were nominated.
Okay.
So it was like you got that lottery ticket, but you didn't have the numbers. That they hyped you up, but they hyped you up like you was gonna win that $155 million plus.
Right.
But you know good and full well you went to Woody's gas station and you know they wasn't gonna give Woody's gas station no kind of rep. That's pretty much how the Emmys were.
But you knew that. You knew we wasn't gonna go in there and win.
But here's the thing. I thought we would win a lot more than we should have, than we didn't win, because there were a lot of great actors, actresses. What was so disrespectful too was that Courtney B. Vance won an award and it wasn't even shown on television. Like we had to hear about it like I guess an afterthought. And to me, that was, as much as that man has put in work over the course of time, he's a superb actor as far as I'm concerned, and definitely deserving of any award that he gets. And he should have got his just due. Now, the one thing I love, shout out to Queen Debbie Allen. Because Debbie Allen was on some gangster shit.
Yeah, she was.
She was like, you can turn that clock off, honey, because I'm going to keep on moving. I was like, all right, y'all better leave Debbie alone. You know she from the district now. Yes. You better leave Miss Debbie alone. Let her go head on and do her thing. She ain't playing. So I love seeing that. I like Cedric the Entertainer as a host. I thought he was cool. Props to him for paying homage to Biz Markie, him and LL Cool J. I thought that was really cool. But the problem I have with the Emmys is the fact that you can't continue to keep going this route. You can't just nominate 11 people and then 2 people win out. It's like you going through the pinball and you picking and you only 2 of the balls get picked. That's ridiculous to me.
But why not though? Because here's the thing. That's what, if I really wanted to shut a group of people up without actually giving them their just dues, that's exactly what I would do. I would nominate a whole bunch of people and then not choose them to win. And then I would say, oh, well, but you know what? Even though there was a lot of people of color nominated, you guys were still the minority. It was overwhelmingly, as far as the people who won, they were the majority of the people that were nominated. So the numbers make sense. That's what I would say if I was trying to keep people out of my face.
Here's the thing. You saw more black people on the red carpet who look fantastic, by the way.
Because that's what we do. We show up and show out.
But we don't press the button. And to me, I have to take it back to the Grammys. back, I think it was 89 or 90 when Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince won their Grammy. And because hip hop at that time and rap was not being recognized and respected by the Grammys, they said, we're not taking our Grammy. We're going to boycott. And I believe to this day, they still have yet to pick up their Grammy.
Right.
You're going to have to go to those lengths and those leaps and bounds to get people's attention. You're going to have to start digging into the crates, digging into their wallets and saying, okay, you know what? We're going to force you to pay attention to us, because even though we create the culture, we have to start controlling the culture. And we can't let anybody else continue to control the culture and pave the narrative in a way that it makes, like you said, oh, being a bridesmaid, but never a bride. That's BS.
That whole thing sounded great, but it's the definition of hustling backwards to me, because you're saying, hey, you know, you can't keep stealing from our culture without basically representing us within your culture, instead of us just saying, hey, screw that, it is our culture, let's honor our own culture. Because here's the equivalent of it to me. When you stand trial, if I was to commit a crime today, let's say I didn't commit a crime, let's say I was as innocent as I am right now. I mean, crime wise, I'm not talking just innocent criminally wise. I'm very, very innocent criminally. I ain't committed nary a crime
that we know about.
Well, that's the whole purpose, right? So let's say I commit a crime today and I'm sitting in front of an all white jury, and a DA who is worth his salt presents a ton of circumstantial evidence. There's a 95% chance that I'm gonna be found guilty, because they don't judge us the same. If I have a jury of my peers who can look at me and understand my situation, then I probably won't be found guilty, because we judge each other on a similar level. So why do we keep asking people who we know look at us different to judge us with an ounce of equality, instead of building our own stuff so we can judge each other with a fair hand?
It's not asking at this point, and that's the problem. Asking instead of demanding. And the thing about it is,
but why demand though?
Because there's no okay, name me one show that and please don't say the EBT Awards. Name me one award show that outside of the NAACP Image Awards, outside of that, because I've covered them twice in my career. Outside of that, name me an award show that's actually on a high level that people pay attention to and recognize.
So you're saying that just because it doesn't exist, we can't create it?
What I'm saying is, if you were going to create it, the longer you take to create, the longer it's going to be. Okay. And because people don't have like you said earlier, we show up and we show out, but we don't do what is necessary for us to do to make things happen. We get reactionary instead of being proactive, and not enough people are proactive, which means it's going to continue to carry on, because you're going to get more hosts. Next year they're going to reach out to another black host.
But what I'm saying is,
and they're going to take the job.
If you keep being either reactionary or proactively trying to change the minds of a people who have for centuries proven they don't want their minds changed, you are on the hamster wheel. Every single week I come in here and I talk about the damn hamster wheel. Are we not tired of the hamster wheel?
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if you want change, if those of us that want change, right?
Then you got to change it for us. You can't expect them to change who they are.
But the only way to get them to change is financially. When you start digging into, tell me that's not true. Okay, so you're gonna tell me that digging it when you disrupt them financially, that's when they don't pay attention and stuff starts to change. You gonna tell me that the course of history that didn't happen?
Hell no. And you know what? You know why I'm gonna say that? Because look, I watch a lot of news. We got kids that are on their social media. They don't got a dime to their name that they've made themselves, and they're selling black kids on their mock slavery trades online. You haven't seen that?
Yes, but I'm just trying to figure out the correlation.
Because I'm saying that this is what we're seeing now is being bred. This isn't going to die away, and how are we going to impact them financially when we can take that same impact and impact our own communities? It doesn't make sense. What you're saying doesn't make sense.
No, it does make sense. I mean, that makes sense to you. That's fine, but it does make sense.
You're trying to impact people who have let us know in no uncertain terms that they don't want to be
impacted.
No,
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fact that, okay, we have a national stage, correct? Okay, So the fact that you take away those, because there was some multimillionaires in that audience on Sunday at the
And
Emmys.
put them in a
There
room
was some
with just
so
us for us.
that ain't gonna happen, and you know it.
It can happen.
When does it happen?
You know why it doesn't
When?
happen? It doesn't
When?
happen because everybody. This is the Martin Luther King effect. Because you feel like what we have is not enough, and what they have is better. So we have
I never
to
said
integrate.
that.
It's the Martin Luther King effect. Whether you
Did I say that?
Whether you said it or not, that's
No.
what you want to
Did
happen.
no. Did I say that though? Don't go off
you-
your own merit. Did I say
You
that?
literally just said we have to demand.
We have to demand if we want to continue down that pathway, which apparently most people do. So if you want to continue down that pathway, if that's the pathway you choose to go down, then that's the way you got to go about doing it. Because I have yet to hear anybody or enough people. Let me not say anybody, but I have yet to hear enough people go ahead with your philosophy and say, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead. Next year, we're going to create our own situation, yada, yada, yada. I have yet to hear that.
Yeah,
so until I hear it,
it's the Martin Luther King effect.
Whatever it is, it ain't happening.
We keep asking, and that's you only. I've said this before on this show. I'm gonna say it 105,000 million more times. It takes one person to say, "Hey, I want to build this," and all we gotta do is find that one person. So I don't know who you are.
Okay, so
there.
one person. Then what?
Then you
because here's the thing. No, here's the thing. If it's going to take, I understand I understand the premise of what you're saying. It takes one person to get the ball rolling. I get that. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is ultimately it's going to take more than one person, and it's going to take sacrifice. So who's willing to really sacrifice and really be in the trenches with that one person to get the ball rolling and get off the ground and get to that cruising altitude, as it were? I don't see a whole lot of people willing to do it. I see a lot of people complaining on social media. I see a lot of people talking about it, but they ain't being about it. I see very few people that do talk about it and be about it, a la Tyler Perry, who created his own movie studio and sound studio. But I don't see a whole lot of other people in that lane. I don't see a lot of it. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not.
We just continue to try to fit
a square peg into a round hole. What I'm saying is I want to see people don't stop talking about, we know that there's a problem, but nobody has the balls enough to deal with the sacrifice it takes to deal with the solutions. That's all I'm saying. So I'm tired. So if you're not going to do the solution, then continue on. What I'm saying is, since the masses aren't going with the solutionary method, right? Okay. So apparently that means you want to continue on in the lane that you've been going in. So if you want to continue on the lane in which you want to go in, then this is what you may have to do to get people's attention. If that's apparently that's the lane you want to go in. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, I can't even remember the last time I've watched an award show. I refuse to watch an award show built by people who don't believe in us. I absolutely refuse. It's been years since I've watched an award show. So I don't even really know who. When I saw that Cedric the Entertainer was hosting it, I thought about watching it because I really do like Cedric the Entertainer. But in my head, I was like, why am I going to watch this tokenism? Regardless if he feels he was being used as a token or not, that's exactly why he was there.
But he was
there to appease us.
I watch it because I have to have an intelligent conversation. You can't have an intelligent conversation about something.
If you black in America, you pretty much know what's going on with the Emmys.
No, but what I'm saying, but any award show, if you cannot know specific, like you can't have a serious, intelligent conversation about the pros and cons and what should be done if you don't sit there and watch it, because you can't go off with somebody. Like, I've never been one to, just like you told me, plots about movies before I seen them. I'm still gonna go watch the damn movie. That don't ruin the movie for me.
People do that
because my whole thing, just like I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes. I don't listen to movie critics. If I like to see a movie myself, I'm gonna go watch the damn movie. I don't care. Now, if it sucks, then yeah, I'm gonna be mad after the fact because I want my money back. But at least I'm gonna go on my own merit, because I'm going to have an intelligent conversation about, just like, okay, when I was having a conversation years ago about Django, right? I wasn't high on watching that movie, but I watched it because I want to see what everybody is saying and why they're saying certain things. And then if I disagree with that, here's the premise for my disagreement, because I saw the same scene that you saw or same movie that you saw, so I can intelligently have a dialogue with you to be able to go have a conversation and go back and forth.
It's not the same, because if you've watched one award show and if you've seen or Oscars so white, Emmy so white, like you ain't got to watch all these award shows to know.
But here's the thing,
what's going on.
I like watching it because I like to see people's reaction to it. Like, because it's a lot of ignorance out there, because people just be flying off at the handle because they see one or two things and they fly off at the handle. Some people actually watch it and actually have something intelligent to say. So my thing is, I'm going to watch it for myself and then make my own, draw my own conclusions for it. and that's why you and I can have conversation. If I didn't watch the fucking Emmys, I couldn't really talk that
We
deep
can
on
say
it.
the F word now.
Say whatever you want. Say whatever the hell you want. Ain't nobody
Oh,
censored
that's
you.
my favorite word, but I try not to use it.
All
on
right,
the
Too
air.
Short.
It is my favorite word, but that's the.
You must have some Italian in you.
The fuck out of here.
See, there you go. There you go. Off top. There you go. See? Well, like I said, I mean, it's going to be interesting moving forward to see what, if anything, is going to change. I don't have a whole lot of hope that anything's going to change. I just wish people would turn in a different direction and really make some noise.
Man, the Emmys is so foul. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Somebody somewhere is going to make a movie about a Haitian that's just been whipped by some border patrol person. That movie, that's going to win the Emmy. Because that's what they do to us. It's them slave movies or them gangster movies or some stereotypical thing that wins those type of
But
awards.
I still want my Emmy.
What's your Emmy gonna be for?
I don't know yet, but I'm gonna get my Emmy. When I do, God damn it, I'm gonna act a pure D fool. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Emmy was whispering sweet nothings in my ear.
For the love of.
Good night. Me and Emmy have to go to bed now. We have our intimate moment. Good night. Yeah, I'm gonna act a pure D fool when I get my Emmy. You don't want to do that.
You gotta at least have a plan as to what you're gonna get the
Emmy
it's
gonna be for a television show. It's gonna be for a program that I created, for sure. It's definitely gonna be a program I'm creating or I'm a part of. It's definitely, whether it's a sports Emmy or whether it's a daytime Emmy or what have you.
Do they give Emmys for crime shows?
They give Emmys for anything. It's television.
Give me a crime show, Emmy. I love me some crime shows. I've always wanted to be that person, like on Snapped, that has the voice in the background and like, Shelly was missing for 32 hours.
W-Ball. All right, y'all. Coming up on the other side of the break, we got Jackie Ray. What you say? Also, a famous Southern producer said Puffy can't even buy a seat at his table. We'll get into that and more on the other side of the break. You're checking out The Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network. Make sure you stay tuned.
George Foreman whipping recipes on the block. I'm forming a plot to get out my situation, cause fuck niggas be hating and only showing love when you laid up in that box. Gotta maneuver different, got me feeling like Martha Stewart kitchen. Niggas always wonder what's up with my plate, or bite the head you feed them with and probably spit in your face. One of the reasons I developed all these villainous ways, my demeanor done changed. I look at life and don't see it the same. Dealing with demons, I don't think that the
Ladies and gents, welcome back to The Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network and all streaming platforms. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at The Opposite Reaction Show. All right, y'all. Oh, you over here grooving, ain't you?
I am.
How long have I been talking about Villain Park with you? I don't know how long. Ever since I've known you, I've been raving about Villain Park, dude. So
yeah. And every time I be like, who is this?
Jesus Christ. All right, y'all. Jackie Ray, what you say?
See, that's my song. Everybody know that song. Everybody knows Vibrant Thing. All right, you guys. I don't want to say that I'm eager to talk about this topic because truth be told, I'm not. If you listen to my show At the Half, which comes out every Friday, a couple weeks ago, I said, please stop sending me these Clubhouse invites. One of the reasons I said that is because I don't get the good Clubhouse invites. I don't get the grow your business. I don't get to how to advance your following on Instagram. I don't get none of that. I get, are Black women too angry to really appreciate? I get all those. What's that weird guy, the tall, skinny guy that look kind of gay, but he's always bashing Black women? Steven, or is his name?
Yeah, I won't say he's bashing Black women, but he is very harsh.
Well, I'm gonna say bashing Black women because I ain't never seen him say nothing that is anyway. So I always get invited to groups like this, and so it's like a train wreck. I can't help but like go in and at least listen. But for the last week, I've been brought into these Black Love Clubhouse meetings, which I was like, okay, that's much better. At least we're not bashing people, whatever. 6 of them I've been in, and all of them are talking about Well, except for one. One was that polygamy. Please don't invite me to that ever again. But the rest of them are talking about how Black women I cannot be submissive. They don't know how to be submissive. They're too, I don't need a man. They're too independent. They're too aggressive. They're too career oriented. They're too assertive. All these two things that we are. So that's why we can't be submissive. And, I heard a lot of women on there talk, and they didn't really articulate it in the way that they should have, but their arguments were valid. Their arguments was basically like, no, yes, I do pay my own bills. And yes, if you're going to come to me, you got to come correct. So I'm a help, because one woman specifically, every woman co-signed her on her, what she was saying, but I don't think the men could really receive it because she was speaking women. So I'm going to put it in a man's sense. When you're talking about a specific caliber of woman, not all women are the same. That's number one. Don't put us all in that same category and say all Black women have a problem being submissive. That's not a factual statement. I'm an A-tip. I don't want to say I'm technically an alpha female, but I hate that term because that's not who I am in my totality. When it comes to getting business done, being a career woman, being assertive, taking care of all the things that I need to take care of to make sure I'm good, yes, I'm that. But at the same time, most women, not all, again, not all of us are the same, but most women who are like me, when they come home, they don't want to have to be that boss chick that they had to be all day. They don't want to have to fight against their man the way they had to fight against Billy in the boardroom earlier in the day. They don't want to do that. They want to come home and be soft and be vulnerable and let down their guard and feel like they're in a safe place. But that's the key word, safe place. It is very difficult for women like myself to feel safe because you have to work a little bit harder. You have to understand that in order for a woman like myself to feel safe, you have to provide all those things. You have to make me feel like I have a home to come home to where I can let down my guard without judgment. Sometimes that means just being quiet. Sometimes I don't want to say, oh, Billy did X, Y, and Z. And then you say, well, maybe Billy was thinking this. Don't mansplain it for me. Just listen to it. Let me know that I can cry on your shoulder. That's number one. Number two, you have to be at least my equal, if not a little bit higher. I'm one of those women that would prefer a man be a little bit more elevated than me, because it's easier for me to place him as the head of household. I'm very old fashioned. I do believe the man is supposed to be head of household, but in my head, that means you're my dad. And my dad was the boss. Like he made a whole bunch of money. So if all of us went broke the next day, we knew dad got it. If I go broke and I'm looking across the table at a man who I know, okay, I'm broke now, that kind of means we broke because we can't survive on one income, especially not his income. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to be completely submissive to you because I still got to maintain that level of boss action to make sure that we are okay. So then if you are a man who wants a submissive woman, you need to understand that means that your shit got to be on point, period. You got to cross every I or cross every T, dot every I. Your money got to be right. Your living space got to be right. Your credit score got to be good. You got to be building towards things. All of those things have to be right if you want a woman to be submissive. If all of those things aren't right, she might be submissive. She might not. It depends on your relationship. That's number one. Number two, you can't go into a situation asking a woman to be submissive. That takes time. That takes trust. And until she trusts you, it's not going to happen. I'm going to give an example. Years ago, I dated a guy, told me he wanted a submissive woman. At the time, that wasn't a big deal to me because, again, I'm super old fashioned. By date 3, he fully expected me to be full on submissive. Do what no, it takes time. Until I feel safe around you, it's not a thing. Until you've proven that you're the guy that I can lean on and I don't have to be this balls to the wall kind of chick, it's not going to happen. So if we're going to have these dialogues between Black men and Black women, we have to have them on an intelligent level where we understand what the word means that we're saying. If you aren't some submissive, like you really want like a sex slave, that's a different language. You need to speak that properly. But if you really want a woman to, if you really want a woman to be who she is, but feel like she can be safe with you, come home and cater to her man and all that, you've got to prove to her that you are providing a safe space for her to do that, because until then, it's not going to happen. So I'm trying to help y'all. Okay, Nick, help. Am I wrong?
I just got a question. It's like, but are women willing to build with the man? Because what I often hear sometimes is the fact that they talk about this, oh, I want somebody who I can build, but really low key, you're looking for a government bailout plan. And to me, that's not building. It's like, to me, this is just my definition. When you build with a person, that means whatever you have plus whatever they have, you guys combine it, and then you go upward and onward from there, as they say. And I've known situations where people, you know, the woman got with the man, he had a rough past slate or whatever, but he's grinding, getting himself back together, and she'll go and help him fix his credit, get his credit right, even though her credit is straight. But she'll go and devote her time to getting his, let's say, for example, like I said, getting his credit together. And then that way, once he got his credit together, it's like, okay, now you got more flexibility. Because if you guys are joined at the hip, whatever happens to him is gonna happen to you, and vice versa. Like whatever happens to her, I know a friend of mine that when he was married, his wife decided to go back to school. So they were literally living on one income because she was just going to school. But he made sure all she had to do was focus on school, and he went out there. And then when it was time for, him to kind of take his foot off the gas a little bit, then she came in, got herself, righteously together.
That's a team.
And that's personally, that's what I look for.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I will say this though. It depends on where that woman's at in her life. Back in the day, I was definitely that woman who was like, yeah, let's be Bonnie and Clyde. Let's build together. If you don't have everything together, as long as you have a plan, I'm a rock with you. I'm not that chick anymore. I don't give a damn about your plan. Like, I need you to be executing it. You know what I mean? Like, those days have kind of passed me by because I've been there. I've done that. I'm too old for that now. I'm trying to meet somebody on the same plane as I am, and then we build from there. I'm not saying you have to have everything perfect, but I'm saying if you want to be the boss of your own company and you ain't filed no LLC, I don't want to talk to you. You have to be at least working towards your plan so I can see, oh, this isn't a guy that I'm gonna have to push and say, hey, baby, you can do it. You can do it. He's already doing it. So then anything that I bring is just going to compliment him and push him further. I'm not gonna have to push him by myself down this road. I don't want to be that to anybody. I want to be the person that compliments what you're doing. I don't want to be the one that tells you, hey, this is what you got to do. You know what I mean? So when I in my 20s, yeah, no, days is gone. So.
All righty then. Well, you know what time it is now. It's time for Polar Opposites, where Jackie Ray and I debate or talk about these two topics of the week. So, man, get away from me, man. Go to your corner, dude.
Oh, I gotta be in the corner.
Man, go to your corner, man. Stop trying to see what my team is doing over here. You worry about your team over there.
I'm always worried about my team. Oh, shoot.
You worry about your team over there.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I'm ready. I need some boxing gloves. Pop my knuckles.
All right. So first and foremost, obviously, we've been talking about, and I mean, it's been going on for Lord knows how long. When it comes to what's going on in the state of Texas at the border. With the Haitian, I don't want to call them refugees, but the Haitian people that have been
seeking asylum
and been located under bridges and things of that nature. And to me, what really got to me was the fact of the images that we were seeing, what we were subjected to. We are in 2021, and I thought we were back in 1721, because when you see these Border Patrol agents on horses, it reminds me of slave owners back 300 plus years ago, and how they had whips and chains and Lord knows whatever else. And the same thing we've been seeing with them doing with the Haitian people taking asylum, because these are people that left Haiti more than likely approximately maybe about 10 years ago or so. They fled to Central and South America. Someone went to Brazil, Colombia, places like that. So they're trying to seek asylum in different areas. And to me, it's like, I feel like they're being attacked, and they're centralizing all of the U.S. is centralizing their forces against the Haitian people. But if it were people of another race, or whatever you want to call it, I don't think they would be treated the same. Now, I could be wrong in that, but I don't think they would be treated the same, because to me, these are still people these are men, women, and children. I mean, we've seen how immigration has flown them back to Port-au-Prince, and some of them may not make it alive, because when you leave Haiti like that, a lot of times, especially after the assassination of the president most recently, there's a lot of gang stuff going on down there where people are dying at an alarming rate. And to me, this one of the reasons why these people are seeking asylum. You're gonna turn away women and children? That doesn't sit well with me.
I don't know if we're going to be polar opposites on this one, because for me, those images, I will admit, when I first saw those images, I was scrolling through, I was reading about the Emmys, and I just thought, okay, what is this dumbass movie? I didn't think it was like an actual 2021, this is happening in real life. It hurt my heart on a bunch of different levels. Number one, we know the devastation that Haiti has experienced. We also know that Haiti's impoverished state is because of France. So it's like nobody gives a damn about these people at all. And it just, I think I've gotten to the point in my life where seeing how little we care about our fellow man just bothers me. I think that the joy that I saw was really what bothered me. The Border Patrol people that were beating these people with whips, it was like this was a childhood dream that had come true for these people. I'm not surprised by that, because if you haven't picked up on it, I think that as far as Black people goes, no matter where you're from in this country, country or world, we are all we got. I don't think we have the allies that people like to think. And then it reminds me of Kamala Harris. First of all, I've never liked Kamala Harris like at all. You want to talk about forked tongue? Oh, that heifer. But let me digress and go back to what I was saying. But she literally, in order to, and this is where we are. This is our time. I feel like we need Cobra Kai or something to take over the White House, because it's just stupid now. This woman, while she was on the campaign trail, she was like, how inhumane is it to turn people away? How inhumane is it? And it wasn't even maybe a month and a half ago. She was like, if you're heading for our US borders, go back. We have laws in place. We are going to enforce those laws.
Here's the thing I don't like. Like, COVID is real,
right?
But stop using it as an excuse, because you can't pick and choose when you want to use COVID as an excuse. And the mentality. See, here's my thing, real quick, before I play this sound bite. The mentality is, I'm all for people trying to better themselves, right? Everybody wants to come to the United States to better themselves because they feel like it's the land of milk and honey. Okay, and even though it is a country with a whole lot of flaws, there's still good opportunities for you to do stuff versus other countries. And I've visited other countries and I'm like, dude, yeah, the US ain't perfect, ain't nowhere near perfect. However, we still have a little bit more opportunities than most countries that at least I have personally visited and been to. I've been to the slums and I've been to the ritzy, resort area part of countries. So I've seen both sides. So there are places in Nickerson Gardens and Jordan Downs that look better than places in Brazil.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
They look that look like Beverly Hills,
yep,
or Pacific Palisades in Brazil. All right. So just as an example. So listen to the mentality and the arrogance and the supremacy type of attitude that is going on with these Border Patrol agents that are pretty much treating these people less than humane.
Right.
If you come to the United States illegally, you will be returned. Your journey will not succeed, and you will be endangering your life and your family's lives. This administration is committed to developing safe, orderly, and humane pathways for migration, but this is not the way to do it.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is in Texas this afternoon, seeing a massive surge of thousands of migrants firsthand. He's in Del Rio, Texas, where authorities have started mass deportations from that crowd of 15,000 migrants living in a camp city under a bridge. Now, it's a government effort to deter more migrants from traveling there. That group is mostly Haitian migrants, and already thousands have been deported. There is video of one of those deportation flights arriving in Port-au-Prince. And according to officials, ICE will begin flying multiple deportation flights a day starting tomorrow. See that parent with their child. But for many of those Haitian migrants under that bridge, Haiti hasn't been home for a decade. And we're seeing an increasingly heartbreaking situation unfold there in Del Rio. The next image might be tough to look at, but it's important to look at. The El Paso Times reported that a mounted Border Patrol agent was seen wielding a whip during an encounter with Haitian migrants. And joining us here.
I mean, here's the thing.
By the way, that audio is courtesy of MSNBC.
So last night, you guys might not know this, but I also work for the Long Beach Post. So last night, I had to cover a protest for the Long Beach Post. It was a protest that didn't make a ton of sense, but they were protesting against George W., who was in Long Beach yesterday. And one of the things that they were talking about is he started ICE and the inhumane ways in which our immigrants are treated. And for that, they wanted him, that and several other reasons, they wanted him to go to prison. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize he started ICE. You know, it really took that protest for me to kind of look into it. But then it kind of sent me down this rabbit hole where I was like, yo, every president who's ever blamed another president has some way used a policy that they've condemned during their administration. So, like I said, it sent me on this rabbit hole where I saw that Biden completely condemned the way that we treated people trying to seek asylum in the United States, but he's using a bill that Trump passed in order to deport them quickly. At the end of the day, I think as Americans, we have to realize that maybe not on an individual level, but definitely from a government standpoint, the United States does not give a damn about anybody, but especially if you are not originally from here. They don't give a damn about what your country is going through. They don't give a damn if even they've caused it. They do not give a damn, period.
Well, here's what like I said earlier, I don't have a problem with people coming here to try to better their lives. But then the restrictions are so strenuous where it should not take you damn near a decade to get U.S. citizenship. There's so much red tape as it pertains to how to become a citizen in this country.
Right.
It is ridiculous to me. It should only take you no more than maybe 3 years. And my plan is simple. If you can read, write, and speak the language, which is English, fluently, along with whatever your native language is, and you understand that you can prove that you understand the laws of the land and govern yourself under the laws of the land,
that should be it.
Welcome to the United States.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, it's that simple.
I agree.
But it's so much political BS and red tape that goes along. Of course, people are going to try to jump the line. Hell, we do that crap at Magic Mountain at Disneyland. We be trying to jump the line.
I didn't see,
and it's a ride.
Be in fake wheelchairs trying to.
It's a ride. It's like this is people's real livelihoods. Like this is life or death for some people to get to this country.
Mm-hmm.
Like they use what they call coyotes to get from point A to point B.
Yep.
You know, we see here in Southern California, we've seen numerous times where, you know, trucks and cars have gotten into accidents and they've had like dozens of people in these trucks because they're trying to gain a better life from the country that they're coming from.
But that's funny because that's exactly what Kamala Harris said. She was like, can you imagine how brave you must be to want to leave the country that you're in order to prepare a better life for yourself and your children? Why wouldn't we want people that brave in our country? Okay, let's double down on that. These are people that right now in their life, it is better for them to live in a tent encampment under a bridge than go back home. The level of sacrifice that you have to do to say, hey, this is a journey I'm going to pull my kid on, and this is a situation I'm going to put myself in because at the end of the day, I think it's going to make me better. And then you have the unmitigated gall to stand there with no top lip and say, hey, don't come here. It is ridiculous to me. It makes me sick to my stomach. It really does.
All right. Well, let's go head on with the next topic, shall we? All right. Your man JD, John Jermaine Dupri, founder of So Def, recently was on an Instagram live with Fat Joe and Snoop Dogg, and then Puffy decided to enter the IG live.
Oh God.
And there's been talk of what the next verses would be. It could potentially be between Puffy and Jermaine Dupri. Now, these two have been friends for years. We know back in the 90s, they've jumped on each other's remixes. They've done remixes for each other's artists. So we know that they have some type of friendship and more than likely some type of respect. But recently, Puffy was like, hey, play a song, because Puffy kept playing songs on Instagram. JD was like, I'm not playing those songs. I'm too far in the game to be practicing. Name the time, place, and date, and I will be there. I sign the check, and I'm there. Because Jermaine is about his coins. And I ain't mad at brother man for being about his coins.
Right.
Puffy was out here auditioning and take that. Yeah, bad boy. I told you we can't stop. And that's all cool. You know, Puffy's one of the greatest entertainers we've seen in our generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So recently, Jermaine Dupri said, hey, man, you don't write nothing. So, which is true. Puffy don't write nothing. And Jermaine Dupri brought up receipts. It was the Hitman. It was, you know, other producers. And so Jermaine, either it's Jermaine Dupri or it's him and Brian Michael Cox or, you know, it's always Jermaine Dupri. And one thing Jermaine said, hey, I'm at a table that you can't pay money to get to.
Ooh.
And he said, there's only, I think he said four hip hop artists that are seated at this table. Missy Elliott, Jay-Z, Dallas Austin, and himself, Jermaine Dupri. And that's the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Dallas Austin has written that many songs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
People don't realize Dallas Austin really, I don't think Dallas Austin truly gets the true credit that he deserves.
He must
as
not.
a producer and as a songwriter, because especially as a producer, because Dallas Austin has been very instrumental, especially in the Atlanta area, but music in general, right? So I'm like, yo, he's right. Like Jermaine is right. Like, Puffy said, don't worry about if I write rhymes. I write checks.
That ain't what Versus is about, though. It's about hit for hit.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can't say, oh, I got my R&B stuff. I got Mary J. Blige. I executive produced Mary J. Blige. Yeah, but you didn't produce the music.
Right.
You didn't
put the money.
Write the song, write the hook at least. Like Jermaine single-handedly brought Mariah Carey back from a relic.
Yep. I was just
when she was going through the breakdown, unfortunately, and then she came back. I think it was 05 when she came with that album. That album was incredible.
Yep.
Like Jermaine and Brian.
No, wait.
No. It was the one with the black cover on it. She had a black cover. She had a dress on.
Yes.
It was in 2005.
She had her alternate name. I forget her name. She did like a Sasha Fierce thing.
Yeah, MC.
Mimi or something.
Yeah,
MC.
the definition of Mimi.
Yes, right. That was a dope ass album.
It was him, Brian Michael Cox. It was a collect. So Jermaine was responsible for that, and I think he was managing her at the time too.
Yeah,
trying to get her back, back into where she should be. So I'm like, dude, if I'm a Versus, and Puffy keep calling for Dr. Dre, and I'm like, you don't want Dre.
I was gonna say, why would he want Dre?
Dre would wash your ass
like in the first 15
like some
minutes.
Tide.
With Clorox.
Dre would wash your ass. Like, you don't be careful what you ask for. Like, I like Puffy. I respect him as a business person, as a part of the hip hop culture, because he was instrumental. Bad Boy.
Right.
Everybody liked Bad Boy records, right?
But Bad Boy has done
Bad Boy got hits.
They do have hits. Bad Boy has hits. But it's like you said, if you're talking about who wrote those, Jermaine Dupri's worked with Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, The Brat. Don't forget Chris Cross,
Bow Wow. And he kept clowning him about Bow. I was like, man, put on the Bow Wow record. I'm like, bro, he could put on the B-side with him, Jermaine, with him, Brat, and Biggie Smalls, and put on the B-side.
Oh, and don't forget my favorite R&B group of all time, Jagged Edge in the
we
building.
We won't even go to the Franchise Boys.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Lean with it, rock with it, lean. I mean, come on. He did the Jumpin' remix with Destiny's Child, with the Brad and Bob. I mean, Jermaine's been a part of so much stuff. I mean, he brought Usher. I mean, we can just go off the Usher catalog alone. From what was the second album? I think it was the second album.
He's on Usher's latest album too.
Yes.
Where Usher goes,
Confessions was 8701 and Confessions was the shit.
Yeah, but no, the one before, the My Way album was dope.
My Way was
all Jermaine.
And remember, Usher was originally with Bad Boy on his first album, and then because Usher was really young, because Faith and a couple other people used to write lyrics for Usher, and then Usher ended up sliding to JD.
So who did My Way? That was JD.
That was all JD. That was JD. Yeah.
I remember the videos.
I'm like, if JD got more than 20 hits, and I mean, Puffy got hits too. I think it would be a good battle between Puffy and JD, because if it's about hits, like Puff has hits,
right?
Like, say what you want, Puff got hits.
But So you just have to be clear on the rules, though. Are we talking about stuff that he executive produced or stuff that he produced and or wrote on? If that's the case, JD wins that hands down. Like, there's not even a competition at that point.
I mean, I think when you look at, I mean, JD could win, but if we just going off hit for hit and that Puffy was a part of, whether he's on the track or he brought up the sample, because the thing about it is too, Puffy brought up a lot of samples.
Yeah, he sampled everybody.
And the thing about it, but he made it work because everybody can't make a sample work. Like Puffy was able to arrange samples to where they worked. I mean, he took a hardcore rapper from Brooklyn and made Juicy Fruit. Took the Juicy Fruit sample and made it a fucking hit. Right? Like, not too many people can do that and convince Biggie to be like, yo, man, rap over this. This shit gonna set you off.
Right.
Biggie, because Biggie was against it. We all know that at first.
Are you implying that you think that Puffy would win?
I'm not saying he would win, but I think it would be much closer than people think it would be, because if we're going off hit for hit, Puff got hits. I mean, Puff got hits with J-Lo. Puff got hits with French Montana.
But that still takes me back to the rules, though. Is it something that
it's
wrote?
20 songs? It don't matter. It
wrote and or produced, or is it just if he wrote the checks for it? Because if he just wrote the checks for it, that's different.
Again, but I think you're negating the fact of that Puffy was still instrumental in a lot of the tracks because he still had say so and he still put his emphasis on certain tracks. Like I said, when he brought up the samples, certain samples had to be flipped a certain way for them to work. If they weren't worked a certain particular way, like Hypnotize is a sample. You don't realize Hypnotize is a sample.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
But it's not. But they replayed it.
Oh, gotcha.
But so you have to sit up there and have the vision to say, okay, this is going to work. We're going to flip this sample this way.
I'm still going with JD. I hear what you're saying. I'm not negating what you're saying, but I'm still going JD.
I like JD. I think JD could do it, but hey, it is what it is.
Shout out to Jagged Edge. That's, if y'all want to know what real love feels like, just play Jagged Edge. What is it?
J.E. Heartbreak.
J.E. Heartbreak.
No. Go back. No. Jagged Little Thrill.
Jagged Little Thrill is good.
Was the first one.
Yeah.
Then J.E. Heartbreak. Then Where the Party At?
Yeah, but that one was their new one.
That album was dope.
Their new one.
The Nelly verse was so classic.
I play their new one. I'll repeat. You would think I would know the name of it, but their new one is fire as well.
Dude. Dru Hill, the original Dru Hill. 112. Jodeci before they broke up.
112 is what got me
the original 112
with the Cupid.
The first three albums.
Yeah,
the first three albums.
That Peaches and Cream album is what got me skating.
The Benny Siegel remix.
When that 112 album came out, everybody's like, "Let's go skating." I'm like, "We still skate?"
Oh yeah. I mean, I can go. I mean, Donnell Jones.
Man, whatever happened to Donnell?
Shoot, that dude got checked.
We got to get off this rabbit hole. We could just do whatever.
That dude got checked.
Whatever happened to?
But I mean, you want to put.
Whatever happened to remember Karen White?
Dude, I put together I used to put together some of the coldest R&B CDs.
You used to make a whole mixtape.
Yep. Hey, let me tell you something. I got 2 couples expecting off them CDs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh well.
We'll be right back after this. You're checking out The Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network and all streaming platforms. Stay tuned.
Legend out the park, nigga. Yeah, they be like, Q, you should really talk your shit more. Mr. Real Rap, man, the rap game's a shit show. Talking about their money and their cars and how they wrists glow. Claiming gangs at the fame wasn't raised in this though. Warring over colors played out like the disco. I just seen a blood nigga go and buy some crypto. What's his name? Skinny frame, bang on the block, he a paint beast. 7 on his back, shooting the rock like he KD. Only way they say the best rapper alive ain't me is if I went and sold my title like Jay-Z. He may not move the number of albums these dudes selling, but just know he touched more souls than a shoe salesman. It's a big difference between artists like you and I. A fan told me that I stopped them from committing suicide, so motherfucker critic won't hear what they have to say. Impacts on people's lives outweighs the accolades. Would they mention your name after the day if you passed away? As your body decompose, your legacy start to fade. They be dropping nonsense on it constant, flooding, calling it content, but lacking content. Yeah, I barely drop, but when I drop jewels. Y'all be throwing around that cap like y'all graduated school. In this booth, I be chewing through these fools, put these squares in.
Welcome back to the Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network and all streaming platforms. Make sure you hit me up on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA and on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213 and Jackie Ray at J Ray the Fanatic on all streaming. All platforms, whatever the hell you want to call it.
All social media.
Yeah, that part.
Yes.
That part. All right. So we talked about music, right? And we know the music industry, Q-Tip said it best. Rule number 4080, record company people are shady. So this next story embodies that, allegedly. So Karen Civil, everybody knows Karen Civil. She's been a media maven. She's been a publicist. She's done work with Cameron, Dipset, Lil Wayne when he was locked down in New York. That time, Young Money. And then obviously the late great Nipsey Hussle she had worked with for a period of time as well. Recently, Joyner Lucas, who has been blowing up the charts, incredibly talented dude. No question, incredibly talented guy. He recently came out with his piece and saying that Karen Civil allegedly took $60,000 from him when before he became the Joyner Lucas that we all know. He was just starting out, and he was tight for money. He had a son on the way, and he felt like, hey man, I want that same pop that you gave Cameron and Lil Wayne and Nip. I want that same pop. So, of course, that's the intelligent thing to do. If you got somebody that has what you think is a proven track record, why would you not go to them? That's like if you got a civil case and you a woman and you got a sexual assault case, why wouldn't you go to Gloria Allred? That doesn't make sense. Or back in the day, Johnny Cochran. You know what I mean? Like if you had a problem with the police or some type of law enforcement, right? So he went to Karen Civil, said, "Hey man, you didn't do what you said you were gonna do. You took my money and ran with it. Then when I tried to track you down, you act like you had an attitude." They were recently on Clubhouse and they were able to air out their differences. And Karen Civil responded and said, "Look, you act like I'm supposed to be, at your realm and discretion at 24/7. And, I don't know where this is coming from. I did this, that, and the third." But remember, Cameron also accused Karen Civil of thieving. So again, I wasn't there, but where there's smoke, could there be some fire?
There's definitely fire, because $60,000, especially, and the reason why I believe him is because of how he articulated it.
Oh, he didn't pause not one time. My man was like, he was on the witness stand, like, yo. And I like you said, the Cameron situation, I think the only problem I had with this was, and correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't hear him one time talk about we signed this paperwork. I remember him saying, I gave you this money and we agreed to. I didn't hear him say we signed this. There is paperwork because there's an email trail, because Karen Civil brought out the email trail when she tried to cover her tracks and tried to say that, no, I didn't take the money. I spoke with your management, yada, yada, yada. Because he had an investor at the time that had invested, I believe he said about close to $500,000 total. But that part of that $500,000, that 60,000 came out of that $500,000 because that was, dude was like, this is it. Like, we're not investing no more money till you blow. And, so I'm just to answer that question, I think there was some type of contractual. I believe there was some type of contractual situation.
And I saw her pull out the email receipts, and I know that in a court of law, those email receipts would stand up, but that's still not. See, and this is the one thing that I learned when I was in the music business, because everybody done got at one point in time when you trying. So that's the first thing, the first hard lesson that I learned when I came out here. Now, it wasn't no $60,000 because I was broke at that time. So I think I gave this guy like $2,500, and that was to produce 2 songs. Literally, that was it. 2 songs, and then push them out, on his platform. I got a half a song produced, and then at the end of the day, it was like all I had was like text messages, and I think I had a couple emails, but I didn't have a contract. And then at the same time, I was broke. So I didn't even have any money to, fight this. It was just, I was out that money. So that was my main thing. I was like, you need to really do better. And on her part, her saying, okay, well, no, I did this, I did that. Nothing that she said, in my opinion, equated to $60,000 worth of work. Nothing that she said did that. So that's
Dude.
why I feel like she lying. He's telling the truth and she's lying.
And my thing is, you gotta try. I mean, you admitted to sending people to destroy a person's website.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Jason Lee's website.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you're able to do that, then there's no telling what you're capable of doing.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to believe Joyner Lucas, but also too, with Karen Civil, she did some things, and I think also too there may be a breakdown of communication, because you always have to be as clear and concise as possible. You have to know if you're spending that amount of money, motherfucker, I want to itemize what you're gonna do for me. What can I expect? When can I expect it? And how? What do I need to do on my end to make sure that I uphold my end of the bargain? Mm-hmm. Because I've dealt with some shady publicists. I've dealt with some publicists that was cool that stabbed me in the back and ran off with people that I introduced them to, and they both stabbed me in the back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know the story, so I'm not gonna go into it. But and them same people to this day act like they just dropped me off on the side of the road like yesterday's garbage, and they didn't invite me to none of their events. They act like they don't know me, but damn it, I know you. And in the words of Lauryn Hill, until you get right, all you ever will experience is wrong. Right. And your day is coming. Trust me, sweetheart, your day is coming. And that's why I felt this Joyner Lucas story so tough, because I had experienced not the $60,000 part, but just dealing with some shady publicists that said they were going to do certain things, and then when they BS you and they say, oh, okay, I'm gonna help you with this and help you with that, or I'm gonna make that, and they don't do it. It's like, oh, okay.
Do you think in the situation of Karen Civil that she's actually dirty, or do you think it's like the Nerlens Noel situation, where I think that situation was just you wasn't as big as some of my other clients, and so I kind of maybe let you fall by the wayside? Kind of malicious is as far
I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think she thought he was gonna blow.
That's what I'm saying. So she didn't pay him as much. And that's thing with the
that's why I felt Joyner so much, because this is the same type of publicists feel like, okay, you're not gonna blow because you're not out there. Well, everybody has their own moment in time to shine.
Yeah, and if you do your job as a publicist, you help me, yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's a story, y'all, but
yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the segment called Truth Spoken, where I talk about anything that has been on my chest. I'm gonna say it with my chest, say it with my vocal cords, and hopefully y'all will feel it like that bass in your chest. So we often talk about opportunity, and oftentimes opportunity, we say opportunity knocks, will you be able to answer? A lot of times opportunities are created, and every opportunity doesn't always have a paycheck attached to it. And when you look at today's society, everybody, when you look on Instagram, you can look on Twitter, you can look on any other social media platform, and everybody always wants to show you the 90%, 95% of the best what's going on, but never want to show you the grit, the griminess, the stench that goes on behind the scenes of the grind and the bricklaying and things of that nature when it's time for you to come up. And you're looking for those opportunities, and you're trying to get those opportunities because you've been working and trying to earn opportunities and earn the respect of maybe your fellow peers or people that you want to potentially be peers with, and be able to get them to try to help you elevate your career to the next plateau. And I say that because oftentimes being in this genre that we are in media, I've been doing this for 11 years now and counting. And the time that I've been able to encounter certain instances where I reached out to people to literally ask them to help me because I had no idea what else to do, because I was deer in headlights. I was brand spanking new, I had Similac around my breath and getting to know what the hell was going on half the time. But I was determined to figure a way out in order for me to be successful, to create other opportunities. And so it's interesting how when I sit here and I watch people and I grinded my ass off. I'm never one to flex. Jackie would tell you, I don't really flex like that. I can't flex. I just don't, because I don't feel like that's really going to be resourceful, or it's going to be plentiful to the next person. Because what are you really bragging about? What are you really bragging for? What is that going to do to try to help or inspire the next person? So I really don't. But right now, I'm about to get a shovel and get a little knee deep with it. Because let me tell you something. In my 11 years, and I've done some personal stuff. I've been through a lot of things personally, professionally. I've had people literally try to block me. I've had people literally try to detour me away. And there were times where I had many forks in the road, but I was determined to make sure that I got to the destination that I desired to get to. And I made sure that I was in the proper times and spaces. And yes, through the dedication, hard work, and the grace of God, I was able to get there. But it was because of my own merit. And yes, people helped me. People, when I first started in this business, God rest his soul, Eric Wade, who was a photographer who helped me early on. And then there were several other people that guided me when I was at ESPN LA, when I moved on to several other publications. They helped me along the way, and people that I've met along the way, including Fred Rogan, who ultimately changed my life. And the interesting part about that is, Fred Rogan has been an LA staple in the sports department here in Los Angeles with KNBC for over 30 years. And so he's a vet. He ain't got to do squat at this point. It's almost like Kobe Bryant didn't have to reach out, or LeBron or Michael Jordan didn't have to reach out, because they're already established. They don't have to do squat. Their legacies are already cemented. They don't have to do anything else but just sit back, and do what they need to do as long as they're on this planet. And when he reached out to me and extended an olive branch to me and extended a bridge to me to be able to continue on my career and bring it to a different level, then that was something that really I was grateful for. But I was also like, wow, because there's another LA staple who looks like me, who looks like Jackie, that's been in this also equally about the same amount of time in this business here in Los Angeles. And never once have I seen them put on anybody black. Not one. I've never seen them put on a black dude that wasn't a former athlete. I've never seen them put on a black woman that wasn't a former athlete. But you put on everybody else. And it's interesting how this man, and I'm talking about Fred, saw something in me to be able to put that on. And no, he didn't offer me the world. He's offered me an opportunity. And I took it and I ran with it. And I was able to open up, as I continue to go on in my journey, I was able to open up other doors for other people. And I realized there is something missing when it comes to this media game, and it's our voice. This is why I've been able to create different concepts, different shows, different opportunities for people. And I'm still continuing to create those type of situations. And we often talk about racism, and that's prevalent. I will never say that racism does not exist. As long as I'm breathing on this here planet, it is always going to continue to exist. However, it's not so much just the racism, but it's the problems between young and old. And when you have some of these old dinosaurs that are in the way, I'm letting y'all know now, it's time for y'all to get y'all old asses on out the way. And the reason why I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say that, because some of the older generation continues to try to help the younger generation. And I appreciate all of you that do that. But some of you that don't, that try to want to be the plug because you're unimportant, because you want to sit there and be like, oh, I got to be the plugs. So you want to hold people at bay, and you want to try to control and dictate their career statuses and their career moves. That day is done, because I've dealt with individuals like that most recently that I had to have a conversation with, and it was like it went in one ear, not the other. Because these are dinosaurs. They don't get on social media. They have no presence there. They barely are around. But because they're holding on to that whole, I've been in the game 30, 40, 50-year bag, and that's supposed to be cemented. No, because things come and go. Magic Johnson was one of the greatest point guards that we've ever seen. But guess what? He had his time. Then you moved on to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was still, to me, the GOAT, but he had his time. You moved on to Allen Iverson. Then you moved on to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant had his time. LeBron James, he's having his time. The next person could be a Kevin Durant or Steph Curry or whoever. They're going to have their time. Then the Ja Morants and whoever else in the world are going to have their time. It's always a time, but when you go out of your way to help the younger generation, guess what? At some point, I'm going to have to get the hell out the way, because I'm going to be older later on down the road, and I'm going to have to get the hell out the way and start helping the younger people. That's what made Kobe Bryant so significant, because he reached back out to all of the younger players, the guys that looked up to him, and even LeBron, from LeBron to Carmelo to James Harden to Kevin Durant to Ja Morant to whoever. These guys, he reached back out to those guys. So you see the Kobe disciples. Just like how Kobe looked up to Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson looked up to Michael Jordan. You see that because Michael kind of dealt with them in a particular way, not so much. And the thing about it is, if you're not careful, your legend, your legitimacy will be forgotten. Because guess what? If this business dies out and nobody knows about it anymore, who the hell cares? And in the words of the Golden State philosopher Exhibit, every day I got to deal with this industry shit with a bunch of so-called heavyweights that's scared to get hit. And some of y'all are scared to get hit and y'all talk tough. Then when we come in the room, y'all sit up there, knees knocking and start shivering instead of extending your hand and trying to elevate the next person that's going to be involved and be able to continue and keep the legacy alive and keep passing the torch and keep the torch lit in order for this game to survive and for us to have opportunities. And that's all I'm saying. So opportunities don't always come with a paycheck. Eventually they can end with a paycheck. But understand, you got to start somewhere. And if you stay on like I tell the team that I'm with, if you stay with me, I guarantee you we all gonna eat. And you gonna probably eat better than me because I've learned when you in the position that I'm in, as far as open up the door for opportunity, you make sure your people get fed first, then you get fed if there's anything left over. We'll be right back. You're checking out The Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network. Make sure you stay tuned. Final segment of The Opposite Reaction here on the Good News Radio Network and all streaming platforms. Nick Hamilton, Jackie Ray back in the building. And yeah, man, I had to talk that ish, man. Sometimes you got to talk that ish, dude. And I swear to God, I take the Pepsi challenge on anybody because me and Jackie should definitely be. I mean, we love where we are at the Good News Radio Network, and it's a great opportunity and it's a great path. But damn it, in addition to that, we should definitely be on terrestrial radio, on somebody's network, on somebody's station 4 to 5 days a week. Because damn it, we'll compete with anybody. Put your resumes up, put the mics up and see what happened. Line it up. Yeah, I said facts. It. One of the voices of LA said that. Yeah. That's me.
I love that.
God damn it.
I'm disappointed to hear that, one of the things you said in their last segment that resonated with me was legacy, legacy, legacy. And I think some of these old heads don't realize that even if it's not your child, going back and helping a young person fulfill their dream is part of your legacy. So maybe if they got that mindset, or maybe they just haven't planned ahead and maybe they just don't want to go broke and they just can't make room for everybody else because they scared they won't be working and they haven't planned. They 401k. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
All I know is bartender, get your glasses up. Y'all know what it is. Let's go.
Now can we dim the lights? Let's make a toast and it will be all right.
Oh yeah.
Every time.
Like Colt 45 every time.
That's hilarious.
All right, y'all. So cheers to you is brought to you this week by Luc Belaire Blue. Mm-hmm. That's what we sipping on this week. So who is your cheers to you going to?
This is gonna sound a little random, but my cheers to you is going to go to young Black girls and young Black boys. And the reason why I'm sending my cheers to you, and I don't mean this with any disrespect. I understand that what I'm about to say might be triggering. I still mean it though. But if you've been following this Gabby Petto situation, this little white girl that went missing and now her body's been found, that's great. But if you go to my Instagram, it wasn't even 5 days ago, I posted, I believe it was 6, might even have been 7. I think it was 5 young Black girls and 1 Black boy that all went missing at the same time in Ohio. No press coverage for that. There's another young boy, I believe he's 25. in Philly that went missing, and the police out there have found a body that they think is his. So they've stopped the investigation, even though it's 5 days later and they don't know who this kid is. No national coverage. But yet this little white girl who gets into the car with her fiance, the police get him, and now we all got to sit around and learn about this little white girl for however long this is going to be dragged out, because now, even though unfortunately she has passed away, now we got to go through the investigation, and we're going to see press conference after press conference about we will not stop until we bring her killer to justice. But nobody's saying that about these young Black boys and these young Black girls, and it's infuriating to me. So my cheers to you is going to go out to you guys. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but in my heart of hearts, this situation with Gabby has resonated with me so much. I'm going to figure out a way to get each and every one of y'all the attention that you deserve, because it's not right.
Who are the names of the individuals?
I mean, it's on my Instagram.
Oh, we'll check J Ray the Fanatic on Instagram. You'll see the names.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, my cheers to you goes to the life and legacy of AJ Johnson, who recently passed away at the age, I believe, of 56 years old. If you remember, he was Ezel from Friday. You seen him on Lethal Weapon. He was also on I Got the Hookup. I Got the Hookup too. He was in Players Club. Very funny comedian. I mean, you remember him from the Dr. Dre Day video. He was playing Sleazy E. Yeah. And then you saw him in Real Compton City G's, the Easy E diss back to Dre. Straight up representing. He always rep Compton. You know, just a very funny, talented individual, man. And it's just sad to start seeing our legends, you know, losing our legends the way that we've been losing them as of late, man. It's just sad to see. There's been no, according to TMZ, there's still been no cause of death, at least, you know, been released. But they said they found him unresponsive. And, you know, it's just sad, man. I remember my neck, my back, my neck and my back.
I remember Smokey back here taking him. I ain't going to.
Well, I clean all of that for you for $2. My man was a $2.
Yeah, it was. I think the part that bothered me, obviously, it's exactly what you said. We're losing people that we're losing people too soon, people that are so important to us and our culture. But I think the thing that bothered me about his case was to find out that this actually happened at the beginning of the month. And we're just now finding out about it. I don't know why that is. I guess it doesn't really matter for us because we're not his family. So I'm sure his family,
right,
and all that stuff. But it just like, can we know the cause of death? I think that's I
think in due time we will. But condolences out to his family. Condolences out to the families of those young Black boys and girls that were missing, and also Gabby's family as well. Because tragedy is still tragedy, no matter what color it is. It's still tragedy. Somebody lost their daughter. Somebody lost their son. And that's still, but I get your point. I mean, it's like, hey, we're going to give equal coverage. Let's give equal coverage to everybody, because everybody is equally important who lost their life. So I'm with you on that.
Yes.
And that is our cheers to you, y'all.
Yes.
And you can depend on me through the big and thin, to the very end.
Yes, you can. Yes, sir.
I highly doubt we were supposed to take that to the head like that, but that's
that
good.
Bel Air is right, boy. That Bel Air, right, boy. That Bel Air right there is right.
Yes, some of this. I don't know if y'all can see.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Opposite Reaction. If you miss any portion of this broadcast, make sure you download and subscribe to us on all streaming platforms: iHeartRadio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes for free $99. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA and on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213. Also, make sure you follow us, your gateway to sports, culture, politics, and tech, at www.nightcastmedia.com.
You can follow me on all things social media at JRay the Fanatic. Oh, and don't forget to check me out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on The Fumble. I had to do it by myself today.
Oh, man. And by the way, special announcement, the NH Experience will be featured on Believe Podcast Network. We will have our special guest, Stephen A. Smith from ESPN, as well as Michael Irvin, the playmaker, who have been featured on the program. So make sure y'all check that out on the Believe Podcast Network on Thursday.
Woo, woo.
11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Believe Podcast Network and all streaming platforms, presented by Nightcast Media.
Yay! That's another cheers to you. With that's a cheers to Nick.
Yes, sir.
Shoot,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Until next week, y'all stay sharp. We're gonna out here. We're gonna drink some of this Luke Belaire. We're gonna be up out of here. Take care.
Peace.
All right, y'all. We out. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all out there on the stream yard. We gonna be back in the yard next week. And y'all be easy.